Thank you all for sticking around, coming to StreamCon. Really appreciate you being here. My name is Joshua Cohen. I'm one of the founders of the event, along with a website called Tube Filter, which I recommend you checking out, which is actually awesome if I didn't run it, and the Streamy Awards. And I follow online video a lot, every day. And there's no sector of online video that's honestly more fascinating to me, and I think in industry in general, once you kind of like scratch the surface, than this family program. For instance, last week, Maker Studios is like 30-some-odd thousand channels. Guess what the most viewed channel was on Maker Studios last week? PewDiePie, right? No. Disney Car Toys, a family channel. Same thing with Full Screen. Full Screen is, they have tens of thousands of different channels. Guess what the most viewed channel was on YouTube last week for them? Another family channel, Family Fun Pack. So it's really fascinating how all these kids are doing all this types of programming, and really excited to have one of the founders of Mommy and Gracie show here today to tell you more about it and thus like burgeoning kind of niche market that's actually way bigger than you would think. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Hello, everybody. So, I see some familiar faces right there. So, in my description of this, I titled it Leveraging the Massive Power of Family Video. And I'm about to explain to you in the next 20 minutes or so why that was not at all an overstatement when I said massive. Now, I just need to warn you, I have a habit of breaking projectors. I'm like the anti-projector person. As soon as I start to try to do a presentation, it all crashes, so this might fail miserably, and then we'll just wing it. So the first question is, who is this woman? And why is she here? So that's my daughter Gracie. So I am Melissa Hunter. Gracie is the founder of the Mommy and Gracie show. I'm just her wacky sidekick. Mommy and Gracie show, we started in June of 2012. My background is actually in operations and finance. Worked here in the city for several years, managed over $20 million a month in revenue, so I was like, finance and ops geek. And I got sidelined by multiple sclerosis and ended up having to retire at the age of 44, 43, something like that. And didn't know what to do with Gracie that summer, and she said, well, why don't we start a YouTube channel and we'll review our dolls, like her favorite channel, Wookiee Warrior 23. And I was like, okay, that sounds like, that would be fun. We never thought anyone would watch. We actually thought maybe our family would watch, but it turned out our family never watches our channel, and it's predominantly strangers. So now we just crossed 560,000 subscribers, which is amazing. So far, 295 million views. We do about 17 million views a month. So we're not like huge, we're not Disney Car Toys. We're not gigantic, but it's a pretty good life. It's pretty amazing. And in the process of doing that channel, I got to know a bunch of family creators and found out that there wasn't really a place necessarily where within the YouTube ecosystem in the multi-channel network world where family creators had like a dedicated place. And so, your business brain, as much as you try to retire, it's like when you go on vacation and you're not going to think about work, you just can't help it. Well, that's what kind of happened. So I founded something last year called Family Video Network, and we are a network of 37 YouTube channels that are all family friendly, and they are our little family. We're invite only. So that's who I am. Okay, here we go. So what I'm about to tell you is going to be scarier than anything you will see this Halloween. As a matter of fact, my friends from the Toy Insider who are hanging out over there know that I just did a vlog. I do a bi-weekly vlog for the Toy Insider about parenting tips. And my vlog this week was called Why Toddlers with Tablets Terrify Me. Because I was doing research for this presentation and I got scared. Okay, so, are you ready for the statistics? 25% of children under the age of 2, this is in the United States, have their own tablet. Have their own tablet. You know why, right? It's because you get really attached to this. and you don't want to give it up. Like, I love mine so much, I put a ring on it. So, this is why, with disposable income and, we're all about the tech and my generation, maybe not so much, I'm kind of old, but the generation behind me, they will think nothing of going and buying a tablet for their 2-year-old child. So there's all kinds of there's a Navi, there's a Curio, there are tablets specifically targeted for toddlers. They've got bumpers around the sides, so they can't drop them, they've got handles, they've got parental controls, and then we've got 36% between the ages of 3 to 5 years have their own tablet. Their own tablet, like, how scary is that? I thought I was weird when I gave my daughter a laptop when she was 4. I find out I'm not as weird as I thought I was. Next, 80% of parents say they give their device to their child who is between the age of 0 and 3 years old. So you see this all the time. You're at restaurants and the kid starts to act up, what happens? One of the parents whips out, if their kid doesn't already have their own tablet, right? One of the parents will whip out their phone or their tablet and give it to them. I see people pushing strollers in the mall all the time. I look in that stroller and I see a little toddler with one of those tablets, pushing buttons, watching videos, because that's what they're doing. They're not playing games, by the way. They're watching videos. So that's 80%, okay? They hand it over. Now, by the time they're 8 years old, 71% of them now have their own tablet. That's insane. I grew up in a house that had one television. I'm 47 years old, so that was like, it was a black and white TV and I was watching I Dream of Jeannie, but still, 71% of children, 8 years old, have their own tablet. And 70% of children under the age of 12 say that they have use of a tablet at home. So a lot of these presentations that you've been to today have been talking about, my Fitbit is congratulating me on achieving a milestone right now. A lot of the presentations you saw today are talking about the huge rise in mobile. And they're talking about millennials and how millennials are driving that mobile. Let me tell you something. It's not the millennials, it's the 2-year-olds with the tablets. Okay, because they will watch and watch and watch and watch. So, now we get to the teenagers. 91% of teens between the age of 13 and 17 have access to the internet via a mobile device. What do you think they're doing with it? Well, obviously they're on Instagram, Snapchat, they're not on Facebook. If you're a parent, if your kid has a Facebook account, that's not really where they're doing anything. Go look them up on Snapchat. They're on Periscope, that's what they're doing, but they are also watching YouTube and Twitch, and that's what they're doing on these devices. So these young kids are plugged in massively. So what are they watching? What are they watching, Melissa? Well, according to TubeFilter, I follow this every week. I wait for this report to come out. Someday the Mommy and Gracie show is going to be in that top 50. Someday. But we never are. But the top 50 most viewed channels worldwide, this is from the end of the week when I was doing my presentation, so October 21st, 17 of the top 50 were kids and family channels. Okay, so we're talking channels where adults are opening Play-Doh toys and surprise eggs, and people are singing the wheels on the bus over and over and over again. Kids, families are just out being families and playing and having a good time. Toys are being unboxed. 17 out of 50. 4 out of the top 10 were kids and family. Okay, now mind you, this is not stripped to just show, family stuff. I'm talking, we're in there with Vivo, we're in there with, movie trailers. This is all the views, okay? And that's how many of, 17 out of 50. That's a lot. That's an awful lot to be up in that number. And if you come into the US, it goes to 19 out of 50 are kids and family channels, and again, 4 out of the top 10 are kids and family content. So just to give you an example, to try to put this in perspective, I love that YouTube does this. YouTube tells us, it takes how many minutes, we got watch time, so it talks about minutes watched. How much time are people spending watching your channel? Well, across, at the time that I pulled the data for, so September 2015, we had 32 channels that I was tracking for Family Video Network. A total of 338 years and 32 days of viewing time was consumed. Okay, children are consuming years worth of video content. That's what they're doing on those tablets. That's what those toddlers are doing. Go look next time you see one in the shopping cart or in the stroller in the mall. Go kind of peek over their shoulder. Try not to be too much of a creep about it. You don't want to get arrested or anything. But peek over their shoulder. And I bet you're going to see they're watching some crazy person opening Shopkins or playing with Barbie dolls or some kids, you know, just running around in their backyard. And you're like, what are they watching? That's not television. That's not Disney. That's not Nickelodeon. Oh, no, it's not. It's people making videos in their basement, at their kitchen table, and getting hundreds of years of view time every month from children. What aren't they watching, Mommy? Well, by the way, I do refer to myself as Mommy all the time, because everybody calls me Mommy. I'll tell you what they're not watching. So, I went to try to find an example of some sort of TV ratings that I could then equate with something going on YouTube. So Disney was really excited about this new show, KC Undercover. So this premiered on January 18th, 2015. And when it premiered, it was the #1 primetime cable telecast of the month with 1.4 million views. That's awesome! 1.4 million views, right? Disney's like, woo! We rock! KC Undercover, huge success. Okay, so meanwhile, Gracie and I are in my basement, in our second kitchen, in the corner, with a Sony Handycam. And on January 18th, our channel had 974,000 views. Now I know it's not 1.4 million, but keep in mind our production costs are about 0, because we're doing it in my basement, and the cost of the toys that we review. So we had 974,000 views that day, but you know what else we had that day that Disney didn't have with their big hit? Engagement. We had 2,486 comments that day. We had over 7,000 likes on our videos that day. We had over 12,000 annotation clicks. So we put clicks in there, annotations, clicks, go check out our next video, go check out Mommy Gracie Show t-shirts, go watch somebody else's channel if we're doing a collab with a friend. 12,000 times, over 12,000 times, those got clicked. And it was a total of 9 years and 71 days of viewing time just on January 18th for a mother and her daughter with no previous video production background, no script. And by the way, we are the least professional, most ridiculous people on the planet. But people watch that. Why are they watching that? Why are children watching that? Why aren't more children watching this KC Undercover that probably had a really expensive production budget? And probably, since it was a premiere, I'm going to guess that, the ad buy for a 15-second or 30-second spot in that premiere, I'm sure that people paid Disney a pretty nice chunk of money to advertise on KC Undercover, and I'm sure it's an absolutely wonderful show. But kids aren't watching that. They're watching people making videos in their houses. They're watching real people, because they can. So, we've been talking a lot about influencers, right? Like the buzzword, if you've never heard that word before, it is now burned into your brain today, at this point. So, to give you an example of how big YouTubers have become, this is a picture, I stole it from Tube Filter, of Jenna Marbles posing with her wax figure that she now has at Madame Tussauds. She's a YouTuber. She makes videos in her house of herself talking to a camera, and she now has a wax statue in Madame Tussauds. And people are lining up to go stand next to a wax statue of Jenna Marbles. Not even to stand next to Jenna Marbles, actually, because that's like nearly impossible now. So they can pretend to take a selfie with her. That's what we're talking about when we're talking about influence. And that's why you need to get involved in this if you're in advertising, media buying, or if you're a brand. So this was, someone used this earlier, and I was like, you stole my role, okay? I was using this too, but I don't have the fancy graphic he had. But Variety did commission a study this summer, and the 5 most influential figures among Americans ages 13 to 18 were all YouTubers. They weren't, it wasn't like Kylie Jenner or whatever her name was. They beat out the Mockingjay, Jennifer Lawrence. More recognizable were the YouTubers. And family vloggers, which might be a new concept to many people, unless you are a family vlogger who happens to be in this room trying to learn how to work with brands. Family vloggers are the real reality shows. So there are families all over the country that are filming their daily lives. They film their lives every day and put them up on YouTube. And they are huge. They get millions and millions and millions of views. And literally, they film what they do every day. As boring as we went to the supermarket, then Susie had soccer practice, then we had to do our homework, we had steak for dinner, we played around a little bit in the backyard, and then it was time for bed. This gets millions of views. Why? Because kids want to see real people. In the over-plasticized world now of traditional television media, they don't believe anything. Kids can call BS. They know when something's fake. But when they're seeing these people on YouTube just living their daily lives, they feel like they become a part of that family. I could go into the whole psychology behind that, but I won't because I don't have time. And so instead of investing money in fake people who pretend to show their real lives on TV, I strongly recommend investing in real people who are sharing their real lives and who have the faith of the children and the families. Okay, so if you happen to be a media buyer and you are using any kind of programmatic type software or whatever, one of the things you have to keep in mind when you're dealing with family video is to pay no attention to the demographics, because remember, you have to be 13 or over to have a YouTube account. You have to be 13 or over to have an Instagram, a Facebook, a Twitter, whatever, okay? So everybody's on mom and dad's accounts. So these are the actual statistics for the Mommy and Gracie show from last month. So our demographic was 59% female, 42% male. Apparently, we're real big with the 35 to 44-year-olds because they really enjoy watching doll reviews and Play-Doh challenges. Clearly. Also, the 25 to 34s are really into it too, apparently. Not so much the 13 to 17-year-olds. So when you are talking about working with family video, don't just pay no attention to the demographics, pay no attention to that man behind the curtain, because these numbers don't really tell the story. We know who's watching because we're seeing them talking to us in the comments. So, now that I've told you all this stuff, what do? How do you leverage this power that I'm telling you, this magical power? Well, obviously, you could buy advertising. So the very simple thing to do is to start buying pre-roll ads. You can always come to Family Video Network if you want to have 37 fully vetted family-friendly channels that you'd like to buy advertising on. But there's more than that. And there's your in-stream ads. Then there's product placement. There's all these family vloggers out there who are going to restaurants, they're going to hotels, they're taking vacations, they're wearing clothes, they're driving cars, they're riding bikes, they're riding a skateboard. These are all opportunities to get your brand in front of families in an organic and authentic way. It's stuff they're going to use anyway. Brand integrations. So maybe you want somebody who does toy or product reviews to do a specific video about your specific product. If they believe in the product, they'll do it. Although I'll tell you, they refuse. We refuse almost all of the requests we get because it's for something that I'll say to Gracie, do you have any interest in this widget? And she'll look at me and she'll go, no. And I'm like, so sorry, I don't think that's a good fit for our channel. But there are, there's going to be that right channel for your brand. Brand ambassadorships. This is great for, clothing lines, travel, cars, the official car of the Mommy and Gracie show. It happens to be a Kia Soul, by the way. I always buy Kia Souls. I'm not sponsored by Kia Soul. Sadly, they have not realized that I always drive a Kia Soul. So brand ambassadorships, doing sponsored events. Have them show up at an event that has something to do with your product. Or let's say it's a movie premiere, it's a game launch, it's a clothing, it's a fashion show. Emma from Kitty's Mama just did a fashion show for the first time for Little Mismatch. It was perfect. She brings a whole bunch of tween and preteen girls who would love to wear the clothes that Emma wears. She walked down the catwalk for them. Social media. Our social media presences are huge because, again, that's where all the kids are. Instagram, Snapchat, Periscope. We go on Periscope in the middle of the day sometimes because Gracie's homeschooled, and I'm like, where are all of these hundreds of kids coming from who are on Periscope in the middle of the day? Like, shouldn't they be in school? But there they are, they're all commenting and giving us hearts and all kinds of stuff. So, social media. If you don't want to leverage their videos, leverage their social media influence. And use your imagination. Our market is kids, so it has to be cute, creative, fun, and it has to be real. Don't come to us with a script because you do not want a child looking like they're in a hostage video talking about your product. Today we are reviewing this really cool thing. It does this awesome stuff. You don't want that. You want them to just have free reign to say whatever, within reason. Obviously, you don't want them to say it sucks, right? What do you need to know? Okay, the first thing you need to know is when you're talking about kids and family content, this whole ad blocker thing, there's a lot of talk about ad blockers today, and YouTube Red, the new subscription service where the kids won't be able to see ads. Guess what? About 90% of our views come from people who are not subscribed to us. So if they're not subscribed, chances are their parents aren't going to shell out $9.99 a month to let them have an ad-free experience on YouTube. So from the kids and family perspective, YouTube Red and ad blockers are not really an issue. Okay, we're talking about kids on tablets. So don't worry about that. Numbers aren't the only way to choose an influencer. Just because somebody has 100 million views a month doesn't necessarily mean that they're the right fit for your product. A lot of those channels that are getting those high numbers also never show their faces. So, do you want a faceless ambassador for your product? I don't know. Maybe you do. Maybe you don't. Be authentic and organic. I think we've pretty much beat this horse dead so far today. And the other thing that I think we beat dead is that influencers know their audience and you know your product. So let the influencers do what they do and get it out there to their audience in a way that works for their audience while still conveying your message. Don't hand them a script and then say, well, why didn't this video get 100 million views? Work together. And then finally, shameless plug. Family Video Network has 37 family-friendly, fully vetted channels, which means that we, before partnering anyone, watch all of their videos to make sure that they're appropriate for children, and they're G-rated, that their quality is there. And we also teach all of our channels how to YouTube, as we call it. How do you YouTube, Mommy? But we do that for our channels. And that's something that outside of us right now does not really exist. But we're small, we're baby, we have 40 million views a month. It's not huge, but it's growing. And so we are available if you ever have questions about family video at that location there. Oh, somebody actually has a question, yes.
My question has to do with influencers. So do you think there's an educational opportunity in which you can help your influencer better present your content, even though they know their audience? But I work with influencers in the past where it's taken off well on our platform, but not necessarily theirs, even though it's kind of the same interest group.
Right, I think they're definitely, it has to be a two-way street. You know, the influencer knows what they do, and then the brand knows their part. But I'm not saying just hands off. I think there needs to be a play, and I think there's always an opportunity as the creators. I mean, I am a YouTube creator. I think there's always the opportunity for me to learn from a brand about some directions or ways to take a promotion that I may not have ever thought of. Remember, most of us we're not video producers from the start, I mean, that's not where it came from. So, we can always learn something. In the back?
We all know the kids are watching the videos. What would you say to our marketers who don't believe that children are responsible for the purchasing decisions?
I'd say they should go shopping with Gracie and I. Yeah, my daughter's firmly in the driver's seat when it comes to choosing things, but kids do tell parents which brands of whatever to buy, right? And when you go through Target with your kid, they start pulling stuff off the shelf. So that would be my argument right there.
Info family together, that was awesome.